We got our chance to celebrate Al's life during a special we aired the night of his funeral. The Eyewitness News family got together to swap stories about Al, lend each other videotapes, and lend each other support. Together, we were able to say goodbye to a wonderful, wonderful man who was a friend to all of us. Many times over the past week, we in the newsroom have been gathering in twos and in threes to tell Al's stories. And tonight we're going to be sharing some of those stories with you. You're going to hopefully see the many sides of Al Sanders.
Now Al joins Jerry weeknights at 6 p.m. on Channel 13's Eyewitness News.
One thing about Albert, he was constantly surprising us. He was a complex man, but what you saw on TV is what we saw in the newsroom. He was the journalist, yes, but he wasn't afraid to poke fun.
What is that, rockfish?
Yes, that's a rockfish. We caught it off Breezy Point this afternoon. And
what do you figure that weighs? I know it must be. How much is it weigh?
40 pounds. We had it certified just now. And
how long can you hold it while we talk?
Not much longer.
He was a tough reporter, but incredibly sensitive, tradition-minded, but he loved the free expression of jazz. Al did not have the kind of ego that most people associate with anchormen. He worked hard. If that meant covering a big story on his days off, that was fine with Al. And above all, he wanted to report about things that mattered to people.
The drug activity had gotten so bad in our neighborhood. Drug dealers were in charge of the streets.
And there was Al Sanders, the master of timing. When he was on the set and conditions were just right, Al knew just when to say or do the funny thing.
Getting a reflection.
So that's the Al we remember in the newsroom. Tonight you're going to see the many sides of Albert, and you'll see once more the man who maintained his calm and led the newsroom when the worst was happening, who taught us to focus on what needed to be done to make sure you got the news coverage you deserve. You know, just seeing that clip where he had the table, the plate with all the cookies on it, just watching it, I thought, you know, he did that on purpose.
He didn't want to eat that stuff. He didn't go near it.
But that day, I had no idea. That was the day of his anniversary, one of my favorite shows of all time, to tell you the truth, because we had so much fun that day.
So many funny moments.
You remember that?
Yes, but so many little funny things that can never be planned. Nothing is planned. No. It's all ad-lib stuff. And I put together just a couple of 3 little things that, you know, from day to day, things that would happen, and I would bring in little props or things, and here's just a couple, or whatever. One of these is a Turk's tip that we talked about, and one of them he talks about my car. And well, let's take a look. Just listen up. If you have questions for Turk's tips or suggestions, write to that same address, just WJ.
Now,
I have to clean up this mess.
Well, it's very important, and it's vital information. We save Mother Earth's resources.
That's true.
But you're going to have to clean this mess up.
This gets
You're
recycled.
just not going to get off the set without cleaning up this mess.
Looking for Bob's keys to the Mercedes. It's getaway night, and I'm going to party tonight.
Time for sand buckets on the beach, and time for cicadas.
Oh, look at this.
That's what I got to say.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, they're out, guys. They're definitely out. Yeah, they're here.
Well, it is dinner time, right?
They love this. Denise, they love this warm weather, and you'll be hearing them this weekend. You'll be hearing them, folks. Yes,
there's something moving in my pants.
Well, you can have that. I thought you were going to have a cow that night.
I know. But just like that, there's something in my pants. I mean, that's the stuff that would happen with Al all the time. All you have to do is look at him. And something would happen, and then something would happen, and something would happen, and something would happen, and it just sort of always happened.
He was one step ahead, though, having looked at the thing that spilled on his anniversary show now 3 or 4 times. I have only now come to agreement with you that he did that on purpose. It was. But
I had no idea. We had no idea. That's what was great.
Just another silly sight gag, you know. No sight gag is too cheap. But one of the ways that Al used to get involved in the sports segment was through his Picture This segments. Al occasionally would delve into the world of sports, and about 6 months ago, he brought us the story of an unusual young boxer. In fact, she is the only female boxer who's sanctioned in the state of Maryland.
Andra Gorman's first amateur fight ends in bitter disappointment. The judges declare Tara Wall the winner, but the battle is not over.
Very good.
Within days, Andra is back in the gym to work on pacing, to sharpen her punches, to figure out angles to keep herself from being such an easy, inviting target.
Al was also learned in the ways of America's favorite pastime. 5 years ago, Al profiled some of the stars from the old Negro Leagues from around Baltimore in another one of his Picture This segments. And when they came to Camden Yards for honors during All-Star Week, Al was honored to introduce them and to help illustrate their contributions to baseball. It was a simple horse race, though, that I think most people will really remember Al for, at least as far as it pertains to his involvement in the nightly sportscast. Who could forget some of these calls? Feature race at Laurel Racecourse today, the 8th race, contested at 1 1/8 on the turf. Talk to me, Al.
And down a stretch they come.
A field of 7 3-year-old and ups going 5 furlongs on the turf. $21,000 allowance race. What you say, Big Al?
And down the stretch they come.
Yeah, boy, here they go. A field of 6 3-year-old and ups going 1 1/16 for an allowance tag of 18 grand. What you got, Big Al?
He struck him out.
Right, Al. The one on the outside is going to strike him out. Look at that. Number 3 is Everybody Happy. Andrea Seafelt on board. Wins it by a length and a half. It was Is Everybody Happy? You got me. Returning 11-20, 460. What was it? 260.
Oh, Lord,
I'm
it's been a
sitting
long
here thinking
night.
about Tiger Stadium and the ball jumping. I'm sorry. Not my night.
Thought you were going to throw me a he shoots and scores.
But of course, it was his night. We're joined now by some of other loved members of our Eyewitness News team, Don Scott and Marty Bass, and I was going, when you were showing that clip, because Al had a baseball cap on.
Yes.
And Al never wanted to wear hats. Never. And when his son today, I believe it was Christopher, talked about how his dad wore a hat to his games that said World's Greatest Dad,
Yeah.
I kept trying to picture Al in a hat saying that, and somehow I just couldn't do it.
Now you can.
Now I can, right.
Phew, you know, the past several years, Al and I have not worked together very closely because when he's gone, I'm here and vice versa. We visit in his office occasionally, but in past years we worked together a lot, and the memory that comes back to me time and time again is 1980, when he and I were teamed up together for a week covering a very important political convention in which another broadcaster took a giant leap forward in his career.
A younger-looking Ronald Reagan won his party's nomination at the Republican convention at the Renaissance Center in Detroit. A couple of much younger-looking local reporters communicated to you live from that location. I think you'll recognize Al Sanders on the left, but the boy without a beard is me.
And I hope it's not just from looking back from this point 15 years later and how good we look. I know from a fact that we were good at that convention because Al was good at that convention. And it's the only time, in my experience in the newsroom, we happened to come back on a Friday afternoon about 4 o'clock. We walked into the newsroom and we got a standing ovation.
Wow.
From the staff. And I think the standing O was for Al, but I was walking right behind him. But it's one of my favorite memories, just to see everybody acknowledging what we did, and especially what Al did at a national convention. So.
That's nice.